When it comes to proper and adequate hydration, even mainstream science agrees that dehydration, even chronic dehydration in a low lying state, can eventually lead to things like cancer, diabetes, obesity, and a host of other diseases and metabolic issues. But when it comes to what to drink, how much, and what type of water, there are multiple debates. So today I'm going to take you through the steps that I take for my family to ensure that they have the best drinking water and the things that I recommend to clients when it comes to drinking water. So stay tuned. Welcome back to the Sarah Kleiner Wellness YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about water and then what I drink, what my family drinks. I'm going to take you through a little tour of my kitchen at the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. A little bit about me. If you're new here, I am a board certified coach with the American Naturopathic Medical Board in Applied Quantum Biology, as well as a certified nutrition coach by the National Academy of Sports Medicine. And I've recently completed Dr. Tom Cowan's new biology clinic. With those certifications, I've also worked with clients one-on-one over the last decade plus on health, nutrition, lifestyle, mindset. And so I've worked with a lot of people on these things. Now, hydration has been something that I've been really, really interested in over the last year. I would say I've really just gone deeper into understanding and studying hydration. I want to acknowledge a few people before I get into this video. Number one, I would like to acknowledge my good friend, Carrie Bennett. She has probably taught me the most about water and just given me the path and said, go read this book and study this person and look at this video. She's really been the most helpful around this topic. So I highly recommend her work. And of course, Dr. Gilbert Ling and Dr. Gerald Pollack, they have really, really discovered a lot about and studied the most about exclusion zone water. Another good friend of mine is Isabel Friend. She has a fantastic platform, YouTube, and a lot of courses as well. And Tracy Dews, she has a whole book called Hydrate. So those are some other resources if the things in this video are interesting to you. The other thing I want to mention is that I'm coming out with a full hydration course called Hydration Mastery. It's on pre-sale right now. It will be released this Friday, August the 9th. You can get 50% off of the Hydration Mastery course. I'll put the link in the show notes for you through this Friday, August the 9th, before it is actually released. It's going to be a 4-part course that's going to go over a lot of the things in this video about drinking water and my 4-step process for drinking water. But we're also going to dive into cellular hydration and the fact that your mitochondria make deuterium depleted water and that our body is 99% water by molecular volume, and things in our environment really impact how well our body can actually hold on to water. So just as a disclaimer, drinking water, the water that you drink, is really only half of the battle here. The other battle is to ensure your environment and your mitochondria have what they need in order for your body to make and hold on to water. So I'm going to go over that in my course as well. I'm also going to go over deuterium because that's a question that a lot of people have when it comes to water. We'll talk a little bit deeper about hydrogen structuring, all these other things, minerals, how to determine how much you need, protocols I use with clients with in regards to minerals, things like that. That'll be a little bit deeper in the course. But today we're going to do a brief overview of my process with water. I'll give you a tour of my kitchen, show you the things that we use in our home, and then give you stuff on a budget. If you're on a budget and you're like, I'm not going to spend all this money on these water gadgets and tools, I'll give you some budget friendly ideas as well. First of all, none of this is medical advice or meant to be a substitute for working one-on-one with someone. So just take this video as informational purposes only. So let's talk about the best case scenario when it comes to drinking water. And then this is all my opinion. So please study this further. Take from this what you will and decide if it's relevant or works for you or not. No hard feelings. If you're like, this doesn't apply to me, work for me. So just that disclaimer as well. But in my opinion, from what I have studied in my research, the best water that you're going to find is from a natural spring. And I always recommend testing that water, just FYI, because we do have a polluted environment. So you might get this beautiful spring water, but I would test it just to make sure it is free from pollutants. Because yeah, it can look and sound great, but always test and know for sure. So that's going to be gold standard. There's a website called findaspring.org where you can actually go and find a local spring near you here in the United States. And then after that, you can test your tap water. Now, most people, especially like where I live in a city, not necessarily a great idea to drink the tap water here. A lot of, again, environmental pollutants, pharmaceuticals, forever chemicals in the water, dirty pipes, just not a good situation to drink tap water. And so you may not live in a big city. You may not have that. You might have well water, but I, again, always will recommend testing the water. If you plan on drinking the water that comes out of your tap, test it to see what's in it. I'll put a testing kit in the show notes. I'm also going to put a link to my water guide that's going to have links to all my favorite water products, as well as all my videos about water that I've done with Isabel Friend, who I've mentioned, Tracy Dews, the guys from Anna Lemma, Veda Austin, parts 1 and 2. Definitely recommend those. So all of that's going to be in my water guide. That'll be in the show notes as well. So again, going back to water, if you're going to drink tap water from your home, then I would test it. Again, the testing kit will be in the show notes and it's in my water guide if you don't have that already. Then after that, let's say you live where I do, you're going to want to find a way to purify your water. So if you're on a budget and you're just getting started with this, there is a water pitcher from the Wellness Enterprise. It's under $100. I send that with my daughter to school because she drinks water all day at school, of course. And so I send that water pitcher with her to school, and we add a little bit of salt to it. We add a little bit of sea salt to it as well. Because it's important to add some minerals back in there, just a little pinch, not a ton. And so that's what I recommend if people are just kind of starting out. Get a good quality sea salt, add a pinch of that to your water. You can also add lemon, you can add lime, you can add just a little something to bring a little bit of mineral back into that water. So that's where you start off with. Then if you want to make a bigger investment, you might go with a reverse osmosis system. We had one for a while, and I decided to go with a distiller because a distiller gets rid of everything and it's a lot lower maintenance. So we had a reverse osmosis. I actually gave that to a caregiver that helps me with my daughter because she didn't have a good clean water source, with, of course, some minerals to go with it. We'll talk about minerals next, but you want to purify that water. If you live in a place where you've tested the water, you know it's not something you want to be drinking. So reverse osmosis, the downside to reverse osmosis is it doesn't get rid of everything. It's really hard to do that with RO, and you have to replace those filters on a very regular basis. If you want your water to remain filtered, you have to replace out the RO filters. So that's one option. I love my distiller. You do need a good power source. This is something we've found out the hard way. We blew the dishwasher out because we didn't have the distiller on a dedicated line. So they may not say that you need a dedicated line when you buy your distiller. They may say, oh, you're fine without it. I'm going to recommend that you get a dedicated line so you don't blow out other important electronics in your home. So we love our distiller. It does kill everything in the water. Distillers are what they use in a lot of labs when they're running scientific experiments and they need the best high quality, purest dead water. So the water is dead when you distill it or put it through RO. There's no mineral in it. It's not structured. So that's FYI. You don't want to drink that plain. And the distiller, again, is lower maintenance. Once you get the power situation figured out, you only need to clean it maybe once a month or so. It depends on how many minerals are naturally in your water. So I have to clean mine about once a month because it begins to form calcifications on the inside of the machine. So I do clean that once a month. Very easy, simple to do. You just soak it overnight. And then a carbon filter. I think there are 4 of those are like $25. You want to change that out about every month as well. Very inexpensive to maintain a distiller. You don't want to drink the reverse osmosis or distilled water plain because, again, that can pull the natural minerals out of your body. You don't want to do that. So you want to add minerals back in. My gold standard for minerals is Quinton, Quinton. Hypertonic is more energizing and more powerful. You got to start off slow with these. I have a Quinton minerals protocol in my 21-day leptin reset, and I'll give a bit more of a protocol in my hydration mastery class. The links for those are down in the show notes. But that's the one I really love. Isotonic is more medicinal. So that's Quinton isotonic. And I used that when I had headaches during pregnancy, when I didn't feel well. It helps to put the body into a more parasympathetic state. And it's, I believe, 9 times less powerful than the hypertonic. And it more so resembles blood plasma in the human body. And if you want an alternative, you can also make Soleil water, Sole. I'll put a recipe in the show notes. There's a recipe also in my free water guide, which is linked in the pinned comment in the show notes. But that's an alternative. It's more similar to isotonic when it comes to minerals. So those are things. I also love Dr. Carolyn Dean's magnesium, her Remag in particular. We've been using that. My husband doesn't typically notice when I change things out, but I have been making him water with a splash of Quinton hypertonic. I don't measure anything at this point. I used to when I first started, but I don't anymore. I buy a big bottle of Quinton hypertonic off of Full Script, put a little splash in there, put a couple drops of the magnesium, fill up the jar of water from our spring aqua or the distiller. We have a spring aqua system, which is an under sink. It does filtering, it does structuring. So we use that also. And then make hydrogen water with that. So we'll talk about hydrogen in a little bit here. But my husband, since I've been adding Dr. Dean's magnesium in, he loves it. So I'll put the link to Dr. Dean's episode with me on her minerals. I love those products. I think they're fantastic. And again, my husband, who's like the most skeptical person in the world, has definitely noticed a big difference with Dr. Dean's minerals. So minerals are the next. Then if you want to structure your water, that is the third thing that I think people should do for free. You can structure the water with intention, prayer. You'll want to take a look at my videos with Veda Austin about this. And we actually did several of the freezing experiments in our kitchen and we're pretty astounded with results. Pretty interesting what you can do with prayer, with thoughts, and simply just influence your water. Very, very fascinating. So check out my videos with Veda Austin. That is in my free water guide, the links to those. So you can really just see what that looks like. And also Dr. Emoto, his work. And this has been replicated because the last time I did a video like this, someone said, oh, has this ever been scientifically proven? Yes, double-blind placebo studies without Dr. Emoto involved have shown that your intention, your thought has the power to transform the structure of the water to make it coherent. When it comes to the benefits of structured water, think of adding more energy to your body, more electrons in particular. That structured water has been shown to add electrons, be kind of an electron donor in the electron transport chain, to add healthy voltage to the cells, which we need healthy voltage so they don't become cancerous, diseased, and die. So they can aid in that process. And there are interesting studies and research around that as well. I'll put that all in my hydration mastery course when we go over the water structuring section. The guys from Analemma as well, you can use an Analemma wand to structure if you want an extra little tool. They've done some interesting research to show that using their wand and structuring the water can allow the body to make more ATP. Again, that's energy essentially, and can reverse age the body as well. I believe up to 10 years was able to reverse biological age using structured water. So there are some interesting studies, data, and research. Again, look at that yourself, decide if it's relevant to you. If you're like, I want to make an investment in this or not, fine, no hard feelings. But that's what you need to know about structured water. You can also structure it with sunlight, with moonlight. How long does the water stay structured? I get that question a lot. Well, if you expose it to something that makes it non-coherent, when you look at Emoto's work and see what happens when he puts the water next to angry heavy metal music, or the water is screamed at and yelled at with negative words, the water becomes unstructured. And so something to think about, go ahead, structure your water, but then you put it into a refrigerator with non-native EMF and blue light, I would surmise it would probably become unstructured. Heating and boiling can also unstructure the water as well. So those are just some things to know about structuring. Now, the next phase is hydrogen. Hydrogen, I feel like, is like icing on the cake. Like, do it if you can, if you have the means to. If you don't have the means to, then go with the first 3 steps. But hydrogen, I was against the hydrogen tablets for a little while, but after talking with Dr. Tyler LeBaron recently here on the show, I have decided that there is a lot of good scientific evidence to show that the hydrogen tablets are helpful in improving gut microbiome, to reducing inflammation, reducing brain fog. There's so many different benefits, and these were done on hydrogen tablets. So, and according to Dr. LeBaron, the levels of heavy metals are not deleterious. So again, decide for that on yourself. If you look at the research and say, I still don't want to put that in my body, then don't do it. And again, no hard feelings, right? I like the Axiom H2 hydrogen tablets. I'll put the link to those in the show notes. If you're looking for a good tablet, we've been using those intermittently. Also, a hydrogen generator is going to be your best bet. I do not like the hydrogen bottles. I've tested some of them, and yes, they do. A lot of them leach heavy metals into the water. That is a true thing. And Dr. LeBaron has also told me that he has seen that as well when they test these different products. So I don't have a hydrogen bottle at this time that I recommend because of that. And then also, over time, they break quickly. You get what you pay for. And when you test the ppm of the water, it's not what it says it is. So it's always important to test the ppm of your water if you're going to say it's got hydrogen for therapeutic purposes in it. I'll show you that in my little kitchen tour. But we use the Holy Hydrogen machine. That's the one we've used since January of this year. It is now August, and had amazing results. And then after talking with Dr. Tyler LeBaron, I wanted something that was even more powerful, since we had such tremendous results with the Holy Hydrogen. And so we've just invested in an Axiom H2 HW 600, which I'll show you. Again, that's going to be out of budget for most people, but for us, because of the medical situation my daughter was facing, we needed these treatments, which are $40,000 per treatment. Our insurance continues to block us from receiving these. And so investing in the hydrogen was kind of a no-brainer. And the improvements that we've seen for my daughter, and a very serious autoimmune condition that she's been dealing with, have been remarkable. Even the doctors are shocked at how well she's doing without these $40,000 a month treatments. And so that is why we invested in the HW 600. We still use the Holy Hydrogen. I still endorse and love that product, but we use that one now as well, which I'll show you in the kitchen tour. But hydrogen has different benefits for inhalation than it does for drinking. Both of them are great. I encourage you to look at that research yourself to see if it's relevant to you. But just drinking hydrogen water, again, can be very helpful for the gut microbiome. It can also reduce inflammation, brain fog, and there are some anti-aging benefits there as well. Our body does endogenously make hydrogen. I know I'll get that in the comments as well. Yes, we do make hydrogen in the gut. If your gut is healthy, you have a healthy gut, your body does have the ability to make hydrogen in the good amounts that are beneficial to the mitochondria. So that is really it. Let's go ahead and take a look in my kitchen. I'll give you a little bit of a tour. All right, welcome to my kitchen. I don't have very high quality video going on here. I lost my tripod, so bear with me. First, I'm going to show you my purification system. Then we're going to go to hydrogen and minerals. So let's go. All right, so here's the water distiller that we use. My code at Pure Water is Sarah K. This is the dedicated line that I had installed after the fact. Very simple to use. This is the carbon filter. 4 of those, about $25. This is the thing you pull this out. You get this guy, pull him out, fill it up with water, put it back in, put your water container under, and it makes your distilled water for you. Very simple. This is our spring aqua system. This is for structured filtered water. This is for hydrogen water, but just as a disclaimer, I've tested the hydrogen levels and they're not super, super high. So if I was going to invest in this system, it would purely be for purification and structuring. But this is the spring aqua system, regular water faucet, spring aqua. This is our holy hydrogen water. You can turn the blue light off. It's making hydrogen right now in the water canister. And I only use distilled water in this machine because if you use regular water, the electrodes get very, very jammed up. And so I only put distilled water in here for hydrogen. And then here are our minerals. These are the minerals that we use. I don't measure these. I have a mineral protocol in my hydration mastery course, but usually I'll do a little splash of Quinton and a little bit of Remag, a drop or two, after it has gone through this canister. This is our Axiom H2. This is a new investment that I got for my daughter. The flow rate for inhalation and just for water diffusion is 6 times higher than the Holy Hydrogen. Holy Hydrogen is still a fabulous machine. I still recommend it. We still use it. But this is just enables my daughter to sit longer, and it also makes a liter of water in only 3 minutes. And you put the little rod in there and it diffuses the water. So this is the H2. So we're gonna measure our water. First, we'll measure the holy hydrogen. This is the parts per million, and this canister has been going for a full 30 minutes. So that's our concentration. This is water I made this morning with the Axiom H2. It's been sitting out on my countertop for about an hour. And then we'll measure this water this just finished, just to show you comparison. So this just finished, whereas this water has been sitting. And this little instrument came with my Axiom H2, but you can get them on Amazon as well. And a couple more things about these machines. You have to clean them. We actually just cleaned the hydrogen machine on Sunday to keep the therapeutic levels going. Same thing with that diffusion rod. You don't want to gunk it up with a bunch of stuff, weird beverages. Really just want to stick to water. And it does not mess with the water if you put minerals in and you structure the water after the hydrogen is made. It's not an issue for the holy hydrogen, nor is it for the Axiom. I typically with the Axiom put everything, the minerals and everything in first and then diffuse, just because it's easier that way. But it doesn't bring the hydrogen levels down in any way, shape, or form. Same with the holy hydrogen. Now the other little thing quickly, the Axiom keeps that same ppm, two and above, for 24 hours plus. The holy hydrogen, once I poured in a glass of water, typically the therapeutic level is gone within about 6 hours. All right, I hope you enjoyed that little tour of my kitchen. Just as a reminder, budget friendly, go to findaspring.org. Make sure you test that water or test your own tap water, and then structure your water with intention. Know that hydrogen is something that is there if you want more therapeutic benefits from water, but it is not a requirement for you to have that to be healthy and have healthy drinking water. And so I hope this video is helpful. If you want to study any of this on a deeper level, definitely grab the pre-sale for my hydration mastery course that comes out this Friday, August the 9th, depending on when you're watching this. That might be over, but if you're watching it in the first few days, go ahead and grab that if you want to dive into these topics on a deeper level. And thank you again for watching. Just a quick reminder, again, none of this is medical advice or meant to be taken as such. Take this information, look at it on a deeper level, and decide whether or not it's relevant to you. If you do decide it's not relevant to you, no hard feelings at all. And I'll see you in the next video. Talk to you soon.